today getting insider information from Sarah at Oliver's Nannies. So stay tuned to hear about this uncapped revenue potential brand that is making waves.
All right, so welcome, Sarah. If you don't mind, let's just jump right into it. Can you talk to us a little bit about Oliver's Nannies? Give us that 30-second elevator pitch.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Matt and Jen, for having me on today. Really quickly, Oliver's Nannies, we're an in-home nanny staffing agency. So franchisees are going to recruit and manage nannies inside homes in their given territory.
Perfect. And so this is sort of a new concept.
Yes.
But I really feel like this is going to be a household name. Can you just give some benefits of why people as consumers would want to use this service?
Absolutely. We were started in 2018 in the suburbs of New York City outside of New Jersey. Absolutely a necessary service. What we do, what's different from some of the other competitors in the area, in the arena of childcare, we're not just placement. So we are managing the nannies. Not only are we recruiting and doing the sourcing and the vetting that families and parents, busy parents, don't want to do or have the time to do, we're then managing the care from moving forward. So we're managing your nannies if there's any schedule conflicts, if there's any feedback in terms of, hey, can you clean up a little bit more, things of that nature, really taking the entirety of the childcare management process off of a family's plate, which we know is extremely important for busy working parents.
Perfect.
So brief pause. If you're watching this video and you have an interest in learning more about Oliver's Nannies, feel free to send me a text at 270-215-2844. First thing we'll want to do is make sure that your territory is available. And then assuming that it is, we'll get you connected with Sarah. But back to learning about the opportunity. Can you just talk to us, kind of how did this get started? Where did it all begin?
Yeah, great question. And one of my favorite stories to tell. As I mentioned, we started back in October of 2018. Kathy Livingston, our founder, started the concept utilizing her years of business knowledge and franchise experience. So she started when she moved out to the New Jersey suburbs with her then 3-month-old and had to go through the struggles of childcare herself. She had already owned a business and was extremely busy. Daycares had extraordinarily long wait lists. She went through a couple of not so great private hires, and at the end of the day, didn't want to have to manage that care in home. So kind of took a step back, and now here we are. We started the concept. Kathy started the concept in October of 2018. I came on board as the founding employee and executive director day one as well. We opened our doors in November of 2018, and we were really quickly embraced because the need is absolutely there. And we can relate, as we were started by a working mom with a young child, to all of the families that we work with.
And, it's also something that I think would be beneficial. Matt and I recently moved to a whole new area where we knew no one. And we also have a little one. And that has been a struggle, just trying to find somebody that we trust to come into our home and take care of our kids.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head there, Jen. Kathy and Sergio moved from New York City. Neither of them are from the New York City or New Jersey area, so they didn't have family or friends in the area. So to your point, who do you turn to and trust? Where do you get these referrals? And again, that's where we got started.
So on that, where do you get these nannies? How is that the responsibility of the franchise owner, and what do you do to help with that?
Absolutely. Great question. And obviously a huge part of what we do here. So there is ample training that's provided in terms of recruitment. There's a lot of training that we provide just as franchisors in general. But a large bulk of training goes towards the recruitment process because it is such a large part of what we do. It's how you stock your shelves per se. So during new owner training, we're going to be spending minimum 10 hours on the recruitment. We're going to provide training assistance, training for the franchisees in, where to post, how to post, things of when to post. One of the biggest benefits of buying a franchise is you get to benefit from the learnings of the flagship location over the years. So over the years, we found patterns that were successful in, these are kind of the words that you want to have in your post. These are the days and times that we found best to get new posts up. You're doing a lot of recruiting and job posting on different job boards, and then going through an extensive recruitment process, which we're going to walk you through. We're going to go through it with potential franchisees during the sales process, really dive into it during new owner training. And then afterwards, while they're working with their business coach, you're getting a lot of information at new owner. So you're going to understand what you have to do. But then when it comes time to do all of the steps, it's kind of going to all rush out of your brain. So your business coach is going to work with you and really kind of walk you through the process again. So it ultimately is the responsibility of the owner, but they're going to have their hand held very much so with their franchise business coach.
So talking about training, what is the entire training? You said 10 hours is devoted toward recruitment. Can you just talk about the entirety of the training program and how long that is?
Absolutely. We have a 40-hour in-person classroom style training that's held in our Millburn, New Jersey corporate headquarter location. What's really unique about that is that our flagship location is housed in the corporate office as well. So while we're going through and we're doing, our classroom style training, it's also very interactive. So you're not just sitting staring at, a PowerPoint for 40 hours for an entire week. We make sure that it's very interactive, and because it is housed in the flagship location, owners really get to see the working of a operational unit, operational location. And we've had owners who have gotten to see an inquiry call and have seen a nanny interview throughout their training as well.
So talk a little bit about the marketing support, just getting started and finding families who need these services. Tell me about that process.
Yep. Support and training in general is one of the things that we are most passionate about. So we're really proud of the training and support that we get to provide to our franchisees. A large part of that is marketing. So in its simplest terms, a lot of the marketing is going to be done through digital marketing lines. So we're going to work with the franchisees and get them set up. We have a couple of different aspects that we cover through our national advertising fund. So we're going to be managing their customized website. We're going to be managing their Facebook profiles because a lot is done through Facebook. And then we're going to give them guidance in terms of, here's a different avenue that you want to, really explore. Here's how you want to really make the most out of those Facebook groups that you should be joining. We're also going to be working and setting up a marketing plan. There is an aspect of grassroots marketing that goes along with this business. So we're going to work with franchisees during new owner training to help get that set up. And then 1 out of the 4 days that we are actually on site for grand opening, minimum of 1 day, the business coach is going to go out and actually do that grassroots marketing with the franchise owner during their grand opening 4-day visit.
Okay.
And so let's kind of talk about like the revenue structure here. It's one of the things I find appealing. So can you just talk, not necessarily how much money you're going to make, but can you just talk about how a franchisee makes money and how that process, all that process works?
Absolutely. So there's three main lines of revenue that we really consider here at Oliver's Nannies. So first and foremost, when you think of a nanny service, you're going to think of traditional nanny care. So that is one of our main lines of service. That's what you think of consistent, ongoing. It doesn't need to be full-time. It could be full-time or part-time. It could also be long-term or short-term. We can do things such as, overnight care for newborns, things of that nature. Consistency is really the key with your nanny services, and families are going to have an hourly rate that they're going to prepay for, and then it's reconciled on the back end. Our second line of revenue is through the registration fee. Every family that signs up for those nanny services are going to pay a one-time registration fee. That's going to help cover your back end expenses and really go towards that bottom line of fixed expenses. Our third revenue stream, and what we are really excited about, it's a unique offering to our program. It's called our Flex Care services. So think about as needed care. So let's just say your kids are older and in school and they're sick, can't go to school, or schools are closed, or the ever elusive date night parents struggle to find, babysitters for. Really great opportunity. To just add on care as needed. Even families who have a private hire nanny have utilized Flex Care as a backup if their private hire takes vacation or calls out. And families are going to pay an hourly rate for the services that they're using, but they're also going to be paying a membership. So think about it like a gym membership. People can use it as little or as much as they want to during their membership term.
And so at the beginning of this, I had mentioned there's really uncapped revenue potential. So
Yeah.
can you dive into that?
Absolutely. One of the things that we love most, to your point, uncapped within your territory. We're going to make sure that you have a specific certain number or above of families and households with children. So there really is no cap on the ability of families that you can work with within your given territory. Whereas if you are looking at, a daycare center, you're going to be licensed to only be able to care for a specific number of children. So even if you wanted to go one over, you legally aren't allowed to. There's no licensing requirements or restrictions like that in our industry and in this model. So it really, the sky is the limit. And what we've been seeing is in the size of, the territory that we are in our flagship location, we haven't even fully saturated it, and have a very successful business that's grown year over year. So the possibilities are really endless. And, as long as a franchisee is ready to hit the ground running and work hard, you can really, have a lot of success in the territories.
Babies are born every day, right?
Exactly.
So can you speak to the territories themselves? What does that look like for a franchise owner?
Absolutely. Our territories are determined by a specific number of demographics. We're not looking at, mileage or, this many miles around a specific zip code. We're looking at the following demographics. We're going to be looking at the number of children 0 to 10 years old within a territory. We're going to be looking at the median income levels for families in that territory. And then we're also going to be looking again at the total number of households with children. And then we're going to make sure that that is comparable to the numbers that we have in our flagship territory, which is where we have the proven success. So we want to make sure that we are on paper giving, a franchisee the opportunity to have as good of success as we can, if not more. So we're going to be putting together maps based on those numbers. What's also really unique is we're going to work with, owners to, fine tune, work with them to see what neighborhoods go together. So there's obviously so much that you could tell from a map, but then, the owners are really going to be able to say, hey, this is where, these neighborhoods make sense together and things of that nature.
So I know that you do need a small shared office space of some sort, so a small physical location, but aside from that and your payroll, there's really not a lot of overhead, right?
Correct. We really like to broadcast that we have low fixed expenses. To your point, there's not a large brick and mortar, not a lot of overhead. We do require an executive office, an office space. We highly recommend it to be in an executive office space. It's not home-based simply because you do have nannies coming in for interviews, orientation, things of that nature. But exactly to your point, the fixed overhead, the fixed expenses are quite low. You're going to start with 1, maybe 2 office employees. Your rent is going to be relatively low in that executive office suite. And then your other fixed expenses, which we have in our item 7, again, don't really accumulate too much month over month. So it's something that we're really excited about.
And then with regards to the payroll for the nannies themselves, that is prepaid, right? So the franchise owner is not coming out of
Good point.
pocket to pay for the nannies.
There are no receivables in this business, which is one of the things that we love the most. The services are all prepaid and then reconciled on the back end. So exactly, you don't need to have this massive working capital reserved for payroll that you then have to kind of chase down to recoup. Because by the time it's time to pay that payroll, the prepay has already been taken in your bank account, and then you're more or less just realizing that money for the payroll purposes.
That's the thing that I love about the model the most, is because, you know, as an owner, you don't want to be putting out of your pocket and waiting to receive the money from your customer. You're getting it up front. Like,
Yep.
and so, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So just, can you break down the total initial investment overall, what that looks like?
Absolutely. So our item 7 in the FDD shows that our total investment is anywhere from $61,800 to $102,500. That does include the $39,000 franchise fee. And then it does have an additional $20,000 to $30,000 budgeted in for those first 3 months of business. So again, your larger costs out of that are going to be your employee. This model is ideal for an owner operator to really keep those startup costs down. It would be an active owner operator and then 1 full-time employee. If an owner does want to be a little bit more semi-passive, that second employee would likely get started a bit, more quickly in the timeline there. But other than, the cost for your employee, your insurance cost can be paid up front or can be paid over time. So that's really going to affect, what that startup investment looks like. In our FDD, we do have it broken down for monthly payments, but again, you can absolutely pay that up front. And then just miscellaneous costs, with an executive office suite, you're not really going to have furniture or internet expenses. So it really helps keep that down.
This model is so similar to in-home healthcare, that so you're managing your families and you're managing your caregivers, but in this case, just a different age group. And I feel like in-home healthcare is everybody knows about it. It's needed. It's never going anywhere. And I feel like this model is that same way.
Same way.
Yeah. And that's, where we really wanted to go with it. And unlike healthcare, we're not as saturated. There's not as many competitors in the area. And the necessity was really showcased. We started in October of 2018. Our first official year in business was 2019, and then COVID hit. So we were still a relatively new business at this, really scary time for businesses, right outside the hub of COVID. We're 20, 30 minutes outside of New York City. So, it was a scary time, but ultimately, we doubled through 2020, which really showed us that this model is needed. It is necessary. It's not a luxury. Like you said, it's not going anywhere. People are still always having kids.
And so can you tell us how many franchisees do you have currently, and what does the growth over the next 12 months look like for you all?
Yeah, great question. We're really excited. We have 4 franchisees. We actually just signed 2 new franchisees to the system last month. So we're really excited to have them. Thank you. We have our corporate location that's open. We have 2 other locations that opened this year. And then our 2 new franchisees signed multi-territory deals. So again, we are open to multi-territory if somebody is interested. So we have 2 units opening in fall, and then 2 more coming a little bit later next year as well.
Awesome. And then one more question: who are you looking for? What type of owners are fitting your profile?
And this is a really great question, and one of my favorites, because the answer is actually a really wide array of people can be a really great option and a really great buyer for this business. I think the obvious answer is a parent, somebody that understands it, that's living it. maybe it's, a mom who has been home with her kids for a couple of years and wants to, get back into business or, work, but still wants to have that work-life balance. A really great benefit for those parent buyers is you can utilize services for yourself. And then also you are really giving yourself almost a head start in marketing as a parent who's a buyer, because you're entrenched in those worlds that you need to be marketing to. So that's really the most obvious, but absolutely not the only option. This is also a really great opportunity for any business professional, because on a day-to-day, while we are a childcare agency, there are so many different aspects of what a day looks like. An owner is going to be doing everything from, potentially doing payroll. So somebody who is in, HR and benefits, somebody who likes working with teams and building teams, in recruitment, sales and marketing, sales delivery, management, things of that nature. So a professional looking to hone in on skills, expand their skills, continue their professional development. And then our third profile that we really are looking for is what we call the investor, but this would be more of a semi-passive owner, where we would highly and strongly recommend a 2-territory deal to really, encourage that investment opportunity. But again, they would still have to be semi-passive. So they are still, checking in with an executive director, throughout the day, at least once a day throughout the week, and still having a hand in their business, but it can be a little bit more removed as well.
Okay.
And so is there anything that we haven't asked you that you feel would be important for, prospective franchise owner to know?
I think the biggest thing, that we really like to talk about is we are an emerging brand. We just started last year. Our growth was intentionally slow and steady. We wanted to make sure that we had all the systems and the teams in place to give the best support to our franchisees. But while we are an emerging brand, we have over 20 plus years of franchising experience. Kathy Livingston, our founder, she worked as a franchise business consultant in 3 different systems. She also has over 15 years as a franchisee, and then started this business herself 6 years ago. So it's a very unique opportunity in a newer market. So there's a lot of exciting things that, we are really looking forward to, and being able to pull in all of the experience into a newer market. It's a wonderful time to join, and, we'd love to work with you.
And I just feel like it's so forward thinking, when you're comparing the cost of daycares or preschools to almost a less than $100,000 investment with uncapped revenue potential.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. I love this.
Well, we love being able to work with you guys as well.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll be sending you some more clients soon.
Yeah, and so as a reminder, if you're interested in hearing more, send me a text 270-215-2844. I'll get with Sarah, make sure your market's available. Obviously, being a new brand, chances are that it is, but
Yes.
We'll double check and get you connected so we can start the process. And also remember to subscribe to our channel as we bring new franchise interviews each and every week.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sarah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.